Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Jason and I'm your watch guy today. Now Mr. Pagani has been back on the phone to me. No, not this guy. The Pagani Design official store on Aliexpress have sent me in their no date Submariner homage to review for you guys. Now this one will definitely divide opinion a little bit. It is more expensive than their first iteration of the Submariner homages by about £30, £25–30. However, I do, on a level, see the improvements that they have made. Is it worth that extra money though? Well, that's what we're here to see today. Now, this has been sent to me for free by Pagani Design's official store on AliExpress. I've linked them in the description. That is also an affiliate link. Now, I do get to keep this watch and I do get a kickback from that link. However, this review will be completely honest, as they always are. With that out of the way, let's turn this camera around and let's review this watch. So guys, this is the Pagani Design PD-1694. It is obviously a Submariner homage, but personally I think they've gone for more of a vintage look in this one. Yes, the big feature is the fact that it hasn't got a date window. Now, a lot of people, myself included, do like a more symmetrical dial when it comes to our divers, and I think that they've done a good job with this one, but they've also put a little vintage twist on it, and I am a bit of a fan of those vintage twists. Now, before we talk about that, let's talk about the dimensions of the watch. It is 41mm in diameter. It is 48.2mm lug to lug, 14.5mm tall, including that sapphire crystal, and we have 20mm lugs on here, so lots of options for band swaps and bracelet swaps, etc, etc. Now, they pack these with two movement options. You can either pick it up with the NH35 or the Miyota 8215. Now, we know how I feel about the 8215. Unfortunately, they have sent me this one with the 8215 in it. So now, the really interesting thing about the movement choice is that they're both the same price. So if you were to pick this up from the Pagani Design official store on AliExpress, the one that sent me this watch for review, then it costs you £92 with either the Miyota or the NH35, which is a very good sign for NH35 watches coming back into stock properly. Now, this is about £30 more expensive than the standard Submariner homage. So let's talk about where that money is going, and let me try and maybe explain slightly why the price change, apart from them just hiking the prices up. So it is 316L stainless steel throughout. We have a really nice brushed finish on the upper lugs, and we have a polished side, as you would expect. Now, they aren't fitting these with display case backs anymore, which I am kind of glad of, because I got a little bit sick of them. Very adventurous sort of case back on this one, with all the usual information around the outer edge. This is a screw down crown sat in between these crown guards here. I don't think I really need to explain much the case shape to you guys, because you know exactly what it is. You've seen it a million times before in other homages. We have a nice little gasket in there, as you can see, which is a nice thing to see, because you don't always get that at this price range. You don't get that actually with a lot of price ranges, to be fair. Now, as you can see there, it's not a hacking movement. This Miyota, the NH35, however, is a hacking movement. One thing to note is that it will have a ghost date position. Doesn't bother me at all, but I think you should be aware of it. The brushing on this is actually quite nice. Lineal brushing towards the edge of the lugs. I think it's finished pretty well for a watch that is sub £100. We have a 120 click unidirectional bezel fitted to this one. Now, there's not much playback in there. However, there is a lot of wobble in this bezel. It's not fitted very well to the casing. In fact, the biggest issue for me on this watch is probably that bezel, just because of the wobble on there. It's a ceramic bezel insert on this one, the usual dive indicator over to the side here. I am personally more of a fan of the stark white contrast on the black bezel and black dial in comparison to that aged loom look. I'm not a big fan of that aged loom. Completing this casing is a top hat sapphire crystal, or sapphire coated crystal. Now, I think that's one of the first parts of why this watch is slightly more expensive. Well, I say slightly, it's a half of the price added on top. That's one of the reasons why I think this one is more expensive, that dome sapphire in there. As well as that, altogether, this watch is provided with a 200-meter water resistance, which is where we start to look at this actually being able to cope in the water. Now, I have no real-life experience of this in the water, so if anyone does, then let me know in the comments. How did it fare? How did it do? I really like the Rolex-style bezel. It's very easy to manipulate on this casing. So, let's dive into this dial. See what I did there? Dive into this dial. Because it's a dive watch. No? Come on. Right, so this is a printed dial, which is different to the first iteration of the Submariner homages. I think that this dial really does follow the vintage sort of aesthetic much more than the applied indices. Now all markers are loomed, and I will get to that loom shot shortly. We have a triangle marker up at 12 o'clock, batons at 3, 9 and 6, and circular indices throughout the rest. They're well sized and in proportion to the dial itself. Up until 12 o'clock, we have the Pagani design logo. That is again printed to the dial. Below that, we have automatic water resistant at 200 meters. And just below the 6 o'clock, you can see there Japan movement, which is true for either the Miyota or the NH35. We also have a white printed minute track around the outer edge of the dial. Very simple printed dial, and it does what it's meant to. It carries that aesthetic of the vintage subs. Now, of course, we have the usual Mercedes style handset with a lollipop second hand. Not everyone's a big fan of that. I haven't always been a big fan of that. I've come to not mind it now with the amount of homages that I've seen with it. Now that we're done with this dial, let's talk about the loom and let's see what they've done with this loom. Now, as you can see, we have a mixture between the pale blue and green looms on this one. They're not the best in the world. They have added a loom bezel insert, which is an upgrade from the first model. I'd go as far to say that the loom on this one is better than the first model also. There's still a little bit of patchiness in certain indices. However, definitely an upgrade. It is longer lasting than the first iteration. The bezel is pretty much faded in reality now. I just wish that they'd start packing these with actual decent loom. It's just, yeah, it's a little bit annoying. However, it's something that we've come to expect, unfortunately, from Pagani. Another upgrade that they've made to this watch is the bracelet itself. So let's talk about that. We have female end links and a rivet style bracelet. Now, I think that this really does capture that vintage aesthetic very well. It is a fully brushed bracelet. One thing that I will note is the brushing isn't really exactly perfectly straight on this bracelet. I would have liked to have seen a better finish or more. Yeah, the brushing isn't brilliant. To be fair, it's a brush bracelet, but yeah, they definitely could have done a better job on that one. To be fair though, if I'm complaining about the brushing on the bracelet over the watch itself, I think that's an improvement for Pagani, isn't it? So rivet style bracelet, these are screw links. We have 3 levels of micro adjust on the clasp. It is not the Rolex style clasp on this one. It is just a simple fold out milled clasp, and to be honest, I actually prefer that. They also have a dive extension on here. Pagani print is actually etched into the clasp itself. Let me pop this on wrist and I'll show you how it looks on my 6.2 inch wrists, and then we can get into the moan section. So here is the watch on my 6.2 inch wrists, and it fits really well. That sub 50 mil lug to lug really works for me. It fits well, the bracelet fits well, it feels good. I do wish there was a little bit of tapering in that bracelet towards the clasp. I think a lot of people would be really happy with this watch, and for less than £100 it is a good deal. However, because of the market that we operate in, or the market that Pagani Design actually operates in, there are a lot of options out there now, and creeping up to that £100 mark, you start to really need to compete with those options also. I think that this is a quality watch, I really do. I do have a couple of moans. I have mentioned a few in the review as we've gone through. Now, the loom needs to be better. If they creep past that £100 mark, the loom needs to be better. That's just a factual statement. I do think that the brushing isn't the best in the world. They should really be doing a better job than that. If I can do a better job than that, then they certainly can. Not everyone's going to like the rivet bracelet. I do. Now, the real question is the cost of this watch. So I'll talk to you quickly about the upgrades that they've made. The sapphire crystal is a better quality crystal. They have added loom to the bezel. They've added this rivet style bracelet and obviously taken away the date window. Does that warrant a £30 increase in price? Maybe less than 30, probably 25-ish at this point. The clasp also much better, the bracelet much better. I think really if you're going to pick this one over the first iteration, then I think you need to really value that no date aesthetic. I personally love that no date aesthetic. I think it's fantastic. I think it gives you much more symmetry, and there's a reason that people really call for it in these models. However, you need to be one of those people. You need to be one of those people saying, I need a no date. Otherwise, the first iteration is definitely a goer for you. Either way, you can pick both of them up on the Pagani Design official store on Aliexpress. I've linked them in the description. Again, just so you're all aware, they have sent me this watch for free, so just get that out there in the open. One thing that I really do need to see from them is this in the colour options that we had the first iteration in. I think this in a Hulk aesthetic or the Kermit, or I think that'd be fantastic. I'd definitely pick one up myself. So guys, the PD-1694, the no date sub homage. I think it's more of a homage to the vintage Submariners than it is to the Submariner. So I do think that they've gone down a little bit of a different route with this one than they did with the first ones that they brought out. However, I don't know if it's going to be worth it to everyone to upgrade to this. I don't know if everyone is going to find that date as much an issue to spend the extra money. But if you do want to pick this watch up, my link is in the description. I really do quite like this watch. I may keep hold of it and put a green bezel on there and put it next to me Hulk homage. Yeah, I think that'd be quite nice. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video, guys. If you'd like to pick this one up, as I said, the affiliate link is in the description. I also have more stock on my website. I posted it last night. So if you wanted to check that out, the link is also in the description. If you're not already subscribed here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I have loads of watch content already posted and coming up very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.